I'm Christopher German for KCTV News for Wednesday, October 29th, 2025. For tonight's broadcast, the stories we're following for you. Today was the start of a 3-day trial in federal court over President Trump's attempt to deploy the National Guard in Portland. And a significant political movement is taking shape in Oregon, aiming to transform the state's primary election system by 2026 to allow non-affiliated voters and members of minority parties to participate in primary elections. And the weather across the region is setting up for a clear start to the night tonight, with skies becoming partly cloudy and high-level clouds increasing late. Overnight lows will be slightly chillier. Expect temperatures will drop into the lower 30s and upper 20s. Now, make sure you tune in every morning for weather from the Skywatch Weather Center, with weather from the Klamath Basin for the Klamath Basin. And tonight's news is brought to you by...
Welcome to Starvin' Marvin's, where the food is plentiful, it always feels like home, and the community is always welcome. We pride ourselves on always making our customers feel like they are one of the family, and making sure that you never leave here without a full belly with locally sourced food and a warm smile. The food, well, that's where we shine the best, with big portions and always served with a smile. Starvin' Marvin's, where the coffee is hot, the food is always made from scratch, and the community comes first.
Our top story. The complex legal fight over President Trump's attempt to deploy the National Guard in Portland entered a critical phase on October 29th, today, as the 3-day trial began in federal court, just one day after a major ruling from the 9th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals. On Tuesday, October 28th, the full 9th Circuit Court voted to vacate or cancel a decision made by a 3-judge panel last week that had favored the Trump administration. That panel had ruled it was likely the president's lawfully exercised his authority to federalize the Oregon National Guard troops by vacating that order and voting to rehear the case en banc before a larger panel of 11 judges. The full court sided with the Oregon officials and ensured that the deployment of any National Guard troops remains blocked for the time being. A significant legal victory that Governor Tina Kotek has repeatedly called good news. The court's decision was seen as a signal of its intent to fully address the constitutional questions surrounding the president's use of military power domestically and the issue of state sovereignty. Meanwhile, in Portland, U.S. District Judge Karen Immergut, who originally blocked the deployment, began the 3-day fact-finding trial as scheduled on Wednesday, October 29th. This trial on the merits of the original lawsuit will hear evidence and testimony from both sides to determine whether the circumstances in Portland, which the Trump administration has characterized as a rebellion that regular forces are unable to quell, legally justify the deployment under federal statute. A key development leading into the trial was the Department of Justice admitting it had overstated the number of federal agents sent to Portland, undercutting a central argument that the regular forces were overwhelmed. The legal fight is now proceeding simultaneously on two fronts: the lower court trial determining the facts on the ground, and the appeals court preparing for an en banc rehearing that will resolve the broader legal and constitutional issues at the highest circuit court level. And in response to the federal government shutdown, Oregon and Washington have joined a multi-state lawsuit aimed at compelling the Trump administration to continue federal food assistance benefits under the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP program. Oregon Attorney General Dan Rayfield has been vocal in his criticism of the administration's stance, asserting that the U.S. Department of Agriculture possesses both the legal authority and the necessary funds to maintain the SNAP program despite the ongoing shutdown. He characterized the lapse in funding for these critical benefits as cruel, highlighting the potential impact on vulnerable populations who rely on this assistance for their nutritional needs. This legal action by the states underscores a growing concern over the humanitarian consequences of the shutdown, particularly regarding essential services like food aid. The lawsuit seeks judicial intervention to ensure that federal agencies continue to disperse funds for programs deemed vital, arguing that the administration is legally obligated to do so, irrespective of the congressional appropriations stalemate. The outcome of this multi-state challenge could have significant implications for how essential government services are managed during future shutdowns. And a significant political movement is taking shape in Oregon, aiming to transform the state's primary election system by 2026. This burgeoning campaign seeks to place a measure on the ballot that would allow non-affiliated voters and members of minor parties to participate in primary elections, a departure from the current closed system predominantly favoring registered Democrats and Republicans. This impetus behind this initiative is striking. Non-affiliated voters have now become the largest voting demographic in Oregon, outnumbering both of the major party affiliations. Under the existing framework, these independent voters, despite their growing numbers, are largely excluded from initial stages of candidate selection, where nominees for general elections are determined. Proponents of the ballot measure argue that this exclusion marginalizes a substantial portion of the electorate and diminishes the democratic process by limiting broad participation in choosing who represents them. If this campaign successfully gathers enough signatures to qualify for the 2026 ballot, and if voters approve it, the change would fundamentally reshape how the Oregon's political landscape is laid out. It could lead to a shift in how candidates campaign, on whom they appeal to, potentially fostering a more inclusive primary process that better reflects the diverse political leanings of the state's residents. This effort underscores a broader national trend where voters are increasingly identifying outside traditional party lines, prompting calls for reforms to electoral systems to better accommodate these shifting demographics. The coming years will likely see a vigorous debate surrounding voter access, party influence, and the future of democratic participation here in Oregon. And a recent report by the Oregon Capital Chronicle highlights a concerning trend for Latino-owned businesses across the state, which are experiencing a notable decline in sales and customer engagement. This downturn is directly attributed to an increased and more visible presence of federal immigration agents in Oregon communities. Business owners interviewed for the report indicate that the heightened immigration enforcement activities have fostered an environment of fear and apprehension among some community members. This climate, in turn, is deterring individuals from participating in daily activities such as dining out, shopping, or frequenting other local businesses, particularly those within the Latino community. The impact extends beyond direct enforcement actions, creating a chilling effect that discourages social and economic interaction, ultimately affecting the livelihoods of these entrepreneurs. The situation points to the broader economic and social consequences that immigration policies can have on local communities, especially those with significant immigrant populations. It suggests that enforcement strategies, while aimed at specific objectives, can inadvertently lead to adverse economic outcomes for businesses and create barriers to community participation, irrespective of individuals' immigration status. The report underscores that interconnectedness of immigration policy with local economies and community well-being in Oregon. And the Marion County lawsuit, which seeks federal court clarification on sharing information with federal immigration officials, remains a central point of tension regarding Oregon's sanctuary state law. Marion County initiated the suit in response to administrative subpoenas from U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, requesting information on 4 individuals on parole for serious crimes, including rape and kidnapping. The county argues that a 2021 update to Oregon's sanctuary law created an ambiguity that places them in legal jeopardy regardless of whether they comply with the federal subpoenas or adhere to state prohibition on using local resources for immigration enforcement. Oregon Attorney General Dan Rayfield has filed a motion to dismiss the case, arguing that the state law is already clear. He asserts that the sanctuary law, which has been in place since 1987 and reaffirmed by voters, explicitly requires state and local agencies to decline to provide immigration information unless federal authorities present a judicial warrant or court order, not merely an administrative subpoena signed by an ICE agent. The Attorney General's office contends that the federal courts, including the Ninth Circuit, have consistently ruled that no conflict exists between the state and federal laws, and therefore there is nothing for the court to clarify. The Marion County lawsuit is supported by 20 of Oregon's 36 counties and nearly all of the state sheriffs, who have signed letters echoing the call for judicial clarity on the interaction between Oregon's sanctuary law, public records law, and federal immigration rules. This case is proceeding in the U.S. District Court for District of Oregon, where the federal judge will ultimately rule on the motion to dismiss and the overall request for a declaratory judgment. And the historic dam removal efforts on the Klamath River have yielded a swift and powerful ecological response, with an estimated 140 adult salmon already spawning in the Klamath tributaries as of late October. This successful spawning demonstrates the immediate resilience of the salmon population and the rapid recovery of the river ecosystem, which has surprised even the most optimistic scientists and tribal leaders. The removal of 4 lower Klamath River dams, the largest river restoration project of its kind in U.S. history, reopened approximately 400 miles of historical spawning habitat that had been inaccessible for over a century. Just a year after the dams were fully removed, fall Chinook salmon have successfully migrated nearly 300 miles upstream into the upper Klamath Basin in southern Oregon. Key indicators of the river's recovery include extended migration. Radio-tagged Chinook salmon have been detected well above the former dam sites, even clearing the Keno and Link River dams and entering tributaries of the upper Klamath Lakes, such as the Williamson and Sprague rivers. Improved health, cooler and more natural water temperatures achieved after the removal of the heat-retaining reservoirs are allowing fish to migrate faster with less stress. Tribal fishermen have even described this year's robust and healthy salmon as footballs. Water quality. Water quality has dramatically improved. Pre-removal, over half of the water samples downstream of the dams exceeded public health limits for toxic algae. Post-removal, all samples have tested within safe limits, with harmful microcystin toxins significantly declining or becoming undetectable. And the return of these cultural carriers marks a deeply significant achievement for the Yurok, Karuk, and Klamath tribes, who advocated for decades to restore the waterways. While a full ecological recovery will take many years and generations of fish, the early return and successful spawning of the salmon confirm the project's foundational goal, proving that when barriers fall, nature has an incredible power to heal itself. And in Klamath Falls, Halloween trick-or-treating to adult-themed parties, several trunk-or-treat events are scheduled for festivities that are set to offer a wide range of options for all ages, from family-friendly, safe, and fun ways for children to collect candy. On Friday, October 31st, 2025, the Klamath County Fairgrounds and the Klamath County Developmental Disabilities Services will both host events from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. The YMCA will kick off their trunk or treat a day earlier on Thursday, October 30th, 2025, from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Additionally, the main library is hosting a family Halloween celebration on Thursday, October 30th from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. This event will feature carnival games, crafts, and a screening of the movie Halloween Town. For a spooky but family-friendly experience, Sidelines Pizza, located at 722 Main Street, will transform its banquet room into a haunted house tonight, Wednesday, October 29th, from 5:30 to 8 p.m. The event will also include face painting and temporary tattoos, with cheese and pepperoni personal pizzas offered at a 10% discount for children who attend. And the evening of October 31st, 2025 will feature 2 notable parties for adults. The Pikey at 610 Main Street is hosting a Halloween party starting at 8 p.m., featuring specialty cocktails, a costume contest, and a prize raffle. Meanwhile, Basin Martini Bar at 632 Main Street will have a Halloween party and costume contest running from 4 p.m. until 11 p.m. Special promotions available from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. include $2 Ghost Jello shots, $5 shot specials, themed small bite plates, and 50% off all Halloween cocktails. The costume contest will hold its final vote at 10:45 p.m., with the winner announced at 11 p.m. And the organized activities ensure a variety of options for the community to celebrate Halloween safely in the Klamath Falls area. Now let's work on to a little weather, shall we? The weather across the region is setting up for a clear start to the night. The skies becoming partly cloudy as high-level clouds increase late, keeping an eye out for potential areas of low-level clouds and fog that could develop in the valleys. Overnight lows will be slightly chillier. Expect temperatures will drop into the lower 30s to upper 20s. Looking ahead to the end of the week, the forecast remains dry and mild. On Thursday, we'll see a passing cloud maybe, leading to generally partly to mostly cloudy skies throughout the day, but conditions will remain mild and dry. And then for Friday, Halloween's forecast is excellent for outdoor plans. While the morning will be chilly, afternoon temperatures will be mild, although clouds are expected to increase. Conditions will remain dry into the evening, providing a cool but comfortable night for trick-or-treaters and those heading out on the town. The next significant weather change arrives this weekend. A new storm system is expected to bring rain to the coast on Saturday under cloudy skies. Forecasters are currently tracking the timing of this system. It could bring wet weather into more of southern Oregon later on Saturday, but it may hold off until Saturday night or Sunday even. Temperatures are expected to drop back a bit on Sunday. Looking into early next week, there are more opportunities for wet weather, but temperatures are currently projected to stay mild and above average. Well, that's it for us tonight. Tune in and get your views counted only at KCTV. And make sure you hit that subscribe button to KCTV on your favorite platform. And while you're at it, make sure you log on to klamathcommunity.tv for the latest news, weather, lifestyle news, sports, including these daily stories posted, and you'll find exclusively on the KCTV news page. So for KCTV News, I'm Christopher German. Have yourselves a lovely end to this work week. We have a sunny day today. It's, what's the temperature out there? It's about 56 degrees in the middle of the day out here when I'm filming this news. And it's going to be a little chilly in the overnight, so make sure if you send out any trick-or-treaters out there, they bundle them up because it could be kind of chilly out there. But I think it's going to be dry, and I think it's going to be a glorious night on Halloween night to spend all kinds of money and time and just go wild, have a good time because it's Halloween after all. But keep safe and don't do anything stupid. Whatever you would consider stupid, don't do that. Okay, do everything else, but don't do the stupid stuff. Okay. All right, I'm Christopher German in the KCTV News Center. Thank you so much for watching. We're getting on average, pretty good views. We're getting I don't know where you're viewing these things. It still says that most people are watching this on their computer. And it's so much easier to watch on the app on your Roku or on your Fire TV or on your Apple TV. And we're available on all those places. So if you think about it when you get home, Google, or put it into your search bar anyway. Don't Google it. Put into your search bar Klamath Community Television on your Roku device, your Apple TV device, or your Fire TV device, and download the app and sit at your couch and watch the television instead of having to sit at your computer and watch this, because it's a lot more fun and it's a lot more it's a lot nicer, I think, if you cuddle up on the couch, put a blanket around yourself, get yourself a nice cup of tea and watch the news. That's the way to do it, I think. All right, that's all you got from me today, folks. Thank you for watching. I will. I might be out on Friday night. I don't know what's going to happen Friday night. We might be wandering around downtown. We might be handing candy out here. If you come by my house, we'll have a camera ready, and we'll make sure we film all the trick or treaters that are coming here, or something like that. We'll do a video piece about that. I don't know. All right. Thank you for watching. God bless. Good night, and we will see you guys again for Thursday. And then it's Friday, and we're at the weekend after that. Isn't that exciting? All right, I'm Christopher German. We'll see you guys again tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Good night.